That's right. That's right. We're live right here. Let me put a little light on myself. I don't look so gray. Okay, it's a gray afternoon, but how you doing, everybody? I'm Ann Eller. It is time for Meet Me at the Diner with my very special guest today. Drumroll, Kelly McWhorter, Executive Director of Discover Greenwood, and Chip Tinsley, Chair of the Greenwood County 250 Committee. We're going to be talking history this afternoon, and it's going to be exciting. So don't snooze. Just pay attention here. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about here this afternoon. So how y'all doing this afternoon?
We're good. No snoozing here.
No snoozing.
We got a lot going on. We have no time to sleep.
We do. That's true.
That's right.
Well, before we get started, hey, how is the new destination center coming, Kelly?
Oh, thank you for asking. It is going very well, and it has been framed in. The mechanical has been installed. We're currently working on electrical, and we'll be over there tomorrow doing a little check-in. So hopefully you'll see some pictures on social after that.
Wow. That sounds
looking
great.
like we're going to move in February.
February.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be just in time for America 250,
You
right?
know it. That's right.
That's great. That's great.
Right.
Well, and Chip, as chair of the Greenwood County 250 and being a historical nut as you are, in fact, didn't you used to teach history?
Well, we've been busy for...
Did you teach history? Didn't you teach?
I did. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, at where show?
I taught history, geography, government, econ, you name it, social studies.
Okay.
30
that's what
years,
I thought.
good bit of it. So, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, and I know that this is a big lift to pull this all together. So, what's been happening for the 250? I understand you were meeting with a group of women from the DAR today.
We did. We met with all the local chapters, the chapter out of McCormick in Hodges, downtown Hodges. I thought you were going to ask about the destination center in downtown Hodges. We were there today having a meeting with the local DAR groups and presenting one of our local 250 heroes, Captain John Montague, and we're presenting to whatever group is out there that would like to find out about local 250 history. We're busy for the last, I think, going on 4 years now since we...
Has it been 4 years?
I think it's been, I think it was the end of 21
yes.
that we got together with Senator Nicholson and Bill Davies from the SC 250, and we began to partner to work with groups in Greenwood to locate our people, our places, and create events to mark the happenings in Greenwood related to the 250 efforts and the old 96 district, which we were part of back in those days.
Well, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people question. Well, Greenwood didn't do anything. Greenwood didn't have anything to do with it. What do you have to say, Chip?
Well, the first thing that we always say is obviously Greenwood did not exist during the Revolution. Greenwood didn't exist until 1897, Greenwood County, 1897, 1898. But Greenwood County was a part of the old 96 district along with McCormick, along with Abbeville, and parts of Edgefield and parts of other counties. So we were part of the old 96 district, which was the epicenter of the upcountry at that time. And in this area, everything that happened in the upcountry either went to 96 or came from 96. So it was the hub of the upcountry during this time and before. Fort Charlotte, which we have celebrated a couple months back, was kind of the first that happened in this area, and that is now obviously in McCormick County. And then after that, things kind of moved up to Fort 96. So 96 is our center, but we've got other people, we have other places, we have other things that did go on here in Greenwood County.
Well, when you think about 96, I think, Kelly, we just don't think of the historic center there, the park, as being a money generator and how many people come because it's right in our backyard.
That is absolutely true. I think as a community, we're very blessed to have it, but we also take it for granted in ways. And that visitor center and park sees over 118,000 visitors on an annual basis, and that number continues to climb. And that really brings in a major economic impact in millions and millions of dollars. And that's just something that, let's see, what is our total here, Chip?
In 2022, in that area, over $7.2 million economic impact.
Millions and millions.
Just from
Yes.
the National Historic Site. These figures came from the National Park Service.
Yes.
And they're about a year behind normally from their data. But we know the impact from from 96, from 2012 all the way up to 2022. And it is a major economic driving force in Greenwood County and the surrounding area.
Right. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. We just don't even think about it that way. And when we talk about going to Charleston or to Gaffney or some of these other places, people get excited about it. But right here in our backyard is a tremendous place.
And that's one of the projects, and Kelly's tagged onto this a lot when we first met way back 2021, was ecotourism here in this area. We want it to be a driving force with the history and the 250, and to come to these places like 96, like Fort Mill and other places, but we want them off the path and to come into Greenwood County and go to Troy for the Battle of Long Cane, and go into Hodges to see the Hodges marker, and go into Abbeville and see the things there. So to go in other areas in the county and buy crackers and buy drinks and get gas and stop along the way to drive economic tourism in different parts of the county, in Greenwood and Abbeville and McCormick, and we're all part of this together.
You know, Chip, I remember a few years ago you had a driving tour of this whole area. It was done through the Historical Society, right?
We did.
And that was very fascinating. I remember it was a little muddy that day, but that was a cool trip.
We did that one on a Civil War driving tour that day, and we are in the preliminary stages of looking at doing one for the 250. We have brought that up to look at maybe the midnight ride of Francis Salvador. And there is such a thing. There was a midnight ride.
Oh, come on, a midnight ride
Yes,
down
ma'am.
here. Come on,
Yes, ma'am.
then you'll have to tell us. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am. Francis Salvador, who is a hero.
Jewish, right?
Jewish.
Hero. Jewish hero. Francis Salvador, his family, we could talk 20 minutes, so I'll try not to. Give me the cut sign. But Francis Salvador's family had over 100,000 acres in this area. And by the
out
time,
near Cornacre, or
basically from Fuji all the way to due west, all that area was the Salvador property.
wow,
We have been able to pin it down to about the Tabernacle area where his home was, which was Corn Acres. We have gotten a grant. We're very proud to say that we were given a grant by the Davis Family Foundation recently. And we're looking for some more money to add to finish this project. But we will move the National Historic Marker, or the State Historic Marker, on 72 that is always leaning. It's in bad
always
shape.
gets
It's
out there by Burton Center,
Yes,
close.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We've repaired it several times, and it needs a professional repair. So we're going to take it down. It's going to be restored professionally. It's going to be moved out closer to the Tabernacle Cokesbury area, which is where Francis Salvador lived in his time here in Greenwood. And we're going to work on an interpretive marker to tell his full story, his time here in South Carolina, which is an amazing story. Francis Salvador, in his 3 years here in South Carolina, he met the Rutledges and the Middletons when he was in Charleston, came to Greenwood County, or the old 96th district, was the first Jew elected to any legislative body in America.
Did they hold that against him? I just need to ask.
You know, I think that the people here saw him as an anomaly, as a different figure, and they really must have liked him because he was just different more than anything, and intelligent. And he was elected on the steps of Whitehall, which is down on 221. He was elected there. became the first elected official, served, was also elected again to the provincial Congress. So he served America, his new home.
He was a patriot.
He was a patriot. Then he began to fight, and that goes into the midnight ride as he was on his home place near Cokesbury Tabernacle. And it was known that there would be an attack soon near Whitehall, so he got on his horse, rode to Whitehall 20-something miles at night to warn them of the impending attack, the midnight ride of Francis Salvador. So we're thinking of developing some type of driving tour to incorporate that, to incorporate Whitehall, which was the home of Andrew Williamson, another giant in South Carolina in the Revolution.
Well, I think part of your challenge has to be to ignite people to have excitement about the people that you're talking about. Because I'll be quite frank, I don't know a lot of these people. I know Salvador because of Catherine Smith and working with her on that. But a lot of these other people, other than saying, oh, yes, that name, I know that name.
Well, you know, and to finish up with Salvador, the first Jew elected to a legislative body, then he fights, and they continue, which is a episode in the war, in the Cherokee War. Basically, he and Williamson, they're part of that Cherokee episode as they're driving to due west, and they're moving toward Kiowa, and that's where he lost his life, fighting in that Patriot battle at Kiowa, and he becomes the first Jew to die in the American Revolution and to die for the cause in America. So Francis Salvador has two distinctions there in America. So his story is extremely important, though short-lived. So we want to make sure we continue that. Andrew Williamson, many people look at him and say he's the Benedict Arnold of the war. He fought for the Patriots. Did he go fully for the Loyalists? Did he go fully for the other side and work for them? Probably so. We're not sure. Wade Harrison is our expert. Wade has worked on the marker there. We just got the approval last week for that marker in the State Archives, and we'll have a marker on that site on 221. 221. That marker will be put up next year at some point. So Andrew Williamson's another giant with a checkered past, an uneducated Scot who owned 5,000
see, now
acres.
that creates some intrigue, doesn't it?
Much
A
intrigue.
checkered past.
Much intrigue. He was uneducated, but he had been at Fort Charlotte. He had been at 96. He had had a lot of power in those battles, and he kind of swung both sides in the war, which a lot of people had the opportunity to, but he might have. So he has a lot of intrigue for us in this area.
Wow. Well, so how do you see shaping this up for the 250 celebration here in the Greenwood County? How are y'all putting that together to create the excitement and bring people in to our area?
Well, I think there's a number of ways we're doing it. We've ramped up our marketing efforts a little bit, so we are now prepared to have a presence at community events and make ourselves known, which we really haven't had the chance to do so far. We desperately want to work with the schools because these youth and children of today need to know about all of this.
Right.
We feel like that's part of our mission, is to educate. And then, of course, the larger group, they also, you and I, we just said it. We didn't know.
Right.
And we've been here a long, long time. And so we need to educate our community. And we're doing that slowly, but with presentations like the one Chip made with DAR. And, we've been across the community to do that. But as far as attracting visitors, we're trying to work with different entities and partners such as Lawrence 250 and Abbeville 250 and not worry about county lines and just get folks here to take the driving tour of Abbeville and the driving tour of Lawrence. And when we have our driving tour ready, we're just really trying to work together as a region instead of individual counties.
Well, I would expect that the park over there would play a huge role in the 250.
It absolutely is. Yes, absolutely. And you know, I think we've done a really good job, but Lawrence has been doing this 2 years longer than we've been doing this. And they have got it going on. They've got a lot of things that are, quite frankly, pretty inspirational. Abbeville.
They have a lot of money.
And they've been able
They have a lot of money. They do. They have a lot of money.
Makes the world go
money
around.
We need. They have money, and we would like money. But
Yeah. But and then Abbeville's doing some cool stuff too in their own right, and I think we are too. You know, we've got a couple of other projects. I mentioned the sign to you earlier that we're going to get a map of Greenwood and develop that and talk about all the significant battles and sites, and we're working on that.
First Blood. I mean, why is First Blood important? You know, because that's in the ad that you've got going on there.
Right.
And of course, you're having a quarterly meeting coming up the 14th, 15th. What significance? And I think, first of all, we have to address, why does the history of America matter, Chip? No, I mean,
I think definitely give this to the history teacher.
Well, but I mean, I'm not looking for a half-hour answer, Chip. I'm looking for just a short synopsis, because I think a lot of people go, okay, America 250. Okay, are we going to have fireworks? I mean, right?
Well, no, but we do have the.
But why is it important?
We have a call in to try to get the blimp to fly over at some
point. The blimp,
so
okay.
We're pulling out what we can. You know.
As a history teacher and everything, I would think you would have some feeling as to why we need to revisit this, why we need to concentrate on it.
You know, America's the great experiment. You know, I stand there. We've had a lot here. Is everything perfect now? No. Was everything perfect then? No. But it's the great experiment of many freedoms, many opportunities, many ways of challenging the status quo over the years. And our opportunity here is to look at these things, to study our revolution, to study these people that put their lives on the line, that knew that if this didn't work out for freedom for them, that was going to be the end of their life. And these are some local people. Most people, when they hear about the revolution, they think, oh, it happened in Massachusetts, it happened in Maine, it happened in New York. It ended in 1779, 1777. It was over. A lot of the things we're talking about didn't really happen until 1780, 1781, 1785 down here. So ours was more of a backcountry, brother against brother, so to speak, episodic event. In South Carolina, there were over 300 battles and skirmishes. And the war for independence was won in South Carolina, not in Maine, not in New York, not at Yorktown. The war for independence was won in South Carolina. Not debatable. It was won in South Carolina. So the state of South Carolina took that challenge from America 250 and put a lot of, frankly, money behind SC 250, a lot of staff behind SC 250. We were very fortunate. One of the leaders on the board for SC 250, Mr. Bill Davies, was born and raised and grew up here in Greenwood, so he's been a supporter of our efforts, sat in on our board meetings and helped us out. So, you know, if we don't learn from our past, study our past, study the events, study the people, then we don't have a future to go back to. And, you know, Kennedy talked about that in Texas before he passed away. The future is based on the past. And I think this is another episode for us to be able to look at the people, the places, the events, the things that went on, you know, specific to us, because that's our challenge here in Greenwood County, and how we mark those and tell those stories and incorporate those stories so that the next generation will have those stories. Because if we don't, they're going to disappear. everywhere you go, you hear people say, well, they're not learning history. They're not being taught history. And my first thing is, well, are you teaching and telling history? Well, that's the school. No, I told a group very recently, it's not the school's fault. The school is doing what they have now. They have standards and they're teaching. Whether we agree with that or not, that's another debate.
Right.
They have standards, they have lessons they're teaching. But if grandma and granddaddy and aunt and uncle and Kelly and Chip and Ann, if we're not taking our one to take it from the church, if we're not taking our one to teach them our history, our events, if we're not doing our part, that's where we fail. And in every group and everything that we're doing, our challenge is to teach the next generation. And I think it's so important to preserve, to promote, to protect, so that the next generation is able to take that and look at it for the future.
Well, I think that parrots very closely the Greenwood Museum's moniker, to protect and to teach for the next generation. And that is so true. And, I think, truthfully, the very fact that America has lasted 250 years is pretty amazing, because I read once, I've read it several times, that the idea of being free people is an anomaly. That in the world it's an anomaly. Mainly, they people like to be controlled. So this is very unusual that America has been able to last and has influenced other countries for that too.
Right. And the average is 200 and something years, and our challenge is, you evolve as a society. Things are not going to stay the same.
Static.
No one's asking. No one's saying that we agree with everything on that vein. We do evolve, we do change, but we must change within the framework of what we have. Does that framework change? Yes, it does. That's how the Constitution was written. It does evolve and change within the framework. And I think that's the challenge we face, but we have to teach and educate and learn within what we have so that we have all those things for the future.
Absolutely. Well, although I did not get by and see it, I saw some great pictures of the exhibit down there at the fair, the 250. That was a great, great exhibit. And I have actually I've been to conventions before where you actually signed the Declaration of Independence. Right. Are you all thinking about maybe bringing that here? There is a machine. I saw it at conventions, and you could walk over and just sign it. They didn't charge you anything. You could just sign the Declaration of Independence. It was very cool. Something to think about.
If we can find some money, sure.
We did have one coalition member that asked me, could we do this? And I said, I think it's something to look at and check into and find out.
Yeah.
I think that's, you mentioned the museum. That would be great exhibit there if we could do that.
And it's actually a machine, and your name. I was just reading that I think they had 10,000 people sign the Declaration of Independence down there at the fair. But I have been at conventions, Republican, Democratic, and they had it set up, and you could walk over, and then it was part of the record of the Declaration. It was very cool.
We had one member there, Lori Sarton, went down and spent an afternoon or a full day.
Lloyd.
And he went to, not only to be there, but he did a short presentation for Greenwood County at the fair one day. So we were part of the official state fair as it was going on, and he was able to present and share part of our 250 story.
Well, I think all of these are great things, and I know, Kelly, you're excited now. How did y'all get to chair to bring this quarterly meeting to Greenwood?
Well, we were able to. We've got a very close relationship with the state, as does many of the other counties, and they really just felt like with the coincidence, or I don't think that's the right word, but anyway, the 250th anniversary of the first battle. They felt like that was a great tie-in to bring people here and then also have them stay to enjoy the festivities at 96 the next day. So they they graciously asked us if we would be willing to host, and we said sure. And I just met with the venue yesterday, and we've got we probably got 20 rooms blocked for Thursday night and then 25 for the next. So it's definitely a tourism event. So that's ringing all the bells for me. But anyway, just saying.
Heads in the bed. Beds in the head.
Heads in the beds. But it's going to be a great weekend, and we're honored to have the opportunity to host because there's only for a year. And they've been to some really cool places. They've been to Charleston. They've been to Camden. Camden's got this huge $1 million
Very nice.
visitor center, and Camden's got all kinds of really cool history.
You need to go. I mean, it's a fabulous.
It's something. But we have a lot of communities that are similar to us. Gaffney comes to mind.
Right.
The girl that's running Gaffney is a firecracker, and she works closely with Cowpens as we do with 96. And I mean, the chick has found grant after grant after grant. She is doing so many awesome things. And so we, unexpectedly, happy accidents, have just met some cool colleagues through all this too. It's been good.
So what is the event that the public could probably be involved in on the 15th? Well, the 14th is your meetings, right?
But yes, the public can come to those meetings. It is open to the public. It is the State Commission quarterly board meeting. And what if you're hearing it, and Chip's been, so I might let him take over and say what's going to take place.
If you're interested and you like to watch the inner workings of a group that has planned and worked for this type of activity for years and has also spent money, budgeted money and spending money, it's a great opportunity. They will have seats set up and you can watch. You can talk with the commissioners during break. They'll have refreshments before. They'll have lunch during, and you're welcome to stay. So it's an interactive board meeting. Now you can't interact while they're
doing their business,
exactly.
right?
But you can interact after the meeting, during the breaks, all of that. They will discuss everything going on in the state from Carolina Days next year throughout the state of South Carolina, through events going on in Charleston next year, to events coming here in Greenwood. They will be planning, approving grants that are coming up, things of that nature. The big thing for us, and Kelly will mention this, is after that at 5:30 to 7:30 is a reception that we will host for the commission, and it is open to the public. We have invited our local delegation. We've invited county council, city council. We've invited the town council of Hodges, Troy, Ware Shoals, 96. We've invited the school board of District 50. We've invited all the superintendents. We've invited every other person that we could think of to let them know you're welcome to come and be a part of that and to hear, and also our way of thanking them so far, because we have some great partners that have helped us out along the way and helping us do some things, and some that we might want to tap on the shoulder and say, okay, we want to finish it out, so we want to ask you later as well. So, we have invited a lot of people. But everyone in Greenwood County that hears this and is interested is welcome to come. They're welcome to come 5:30 to 7:30 on the 14th of November to In on the Square and be a part of that reception.
That sounds great. I should probably come and do some live interviews.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we're going to also have the Abbeville 250 and Lawrence 250 there. They're going to have a booth and give out their information. It'll be a chance for them to meet everyone, and we'll have our booth. So, and then Dr. Roush with Lander University has created a diorama, and it is of 96, right?
Siege of 96.
Siege of 96 diorama. So he's going to have that there.
Didn't he have that at the George Washington exhibit? Over
He did.
Yes, that's
He did.
fascinating. That's a lot of detail work, man.
It is.
Don't count me into that now.
It's another
Right.
opportunity for him to share. And he's part of our 96 team. We've got our coalition, but we have teams that come out from that, and we've got a lot of people that have helped along the way,
Right.
and we want them all to come and be a part of that if they can and share their part of the story as well.
So then what happens on the 15th, Kelly or Chip, whoever? What happens on the 15th?
Well,
what happens? What do we hope happens?
what do we hope happens? Lots and lots of reenactors. The park had originally planned for an interactive narrative highlighting the siege and different parts of the siege. It's an all-day thing. There would be in a perfect world, there would be a lot of things going on.
Are you referring to the shutdown, Kelly?
Maybe.
Yes, we are.
Trying not to say the word, but you just said it, so
I know, so the cat's out of the bag.
there we go.
Right.
But we'll see how that goes. And I think either way, 96 will be a focal point for attendees.
Well, you'll still be doing tours and whatnot, regardless.
We're going to
of
make
what
sure.
you're-
Yes,
there's
we want
going
to
to
make
be events going on.
We're trying hard to make it as open, so we're working on that. We hope that comes to fruition.
Right.
We've talked with some people that have the same goals, so we're hoping we can come together. The goal is that 96 is open.
Right.
If it's not, we're trying to do something.
Because you still can walk it. You can still, yes.
Correct.
You can still walk
And you
it.
could have some of your own reenactors, volunteers, or this type of thing.
That's
yes.
our hope.
Yes.
So we want to tell the 96 story because you asked a little while ago, what is First Blood? What does that mean?
Right.
So, coming back to that, First Blood is Fort Charlotte was the first land, not really engagement, the first activity in the South. After that, the first battle, the first bloodshed in the South was at 96 on the 19th of November, and this will be the 250th anniversary of the first person's blood being shed and this person dying in battle in the Revolution, not only in South Carolina, but in the South. So it's important.
That's huge.
It's huge.
It is huge.
It's very big.
People don't know it.
No.
Well, that's why we're here talking about
That's
it.
exactly right.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we can tell that story. 96 is important. Eric Williams, I'd asked him to come and pick that piece up to give 5 minutes. He couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted to share that part because he's been one that's helped us to really fight that.
Well, he's been a reenactor, a medical reenactor, doctor reenactor for years. And, of course, he was there over the 96 historic site for years. Yeah.
So he's doing everything he can to help us share that story that day if we can and how we can. The story is important. 96 first battle. Then we'll come back later in 2031 maybe and tell the second story because this doesn't end.
I'm out.
This doesn't end
July 5th.
in July of next
Counts out.
year. This doesn't end next year. It continues on.
Right.
For 5 years. Really, it's supposed to be a 5-year celebration, Kelly. That's
Little
what
did I
bet
know when I signed up.
Bingo.
I thought I was good till
She hasn't read a
2026.
She hasn't read her contract.
She just reads the fine print.
So nice of them. The other thing about Eric that people don't know, he is such a talented artist.
Right.
And we partnered with the McCormick County 250 on a grant to, and we commissioned Eric to do some renderings, artist renderings, paintings, I don't know what you call it, that are going to go on this sign that the grant is funding at the Battle of Long Canes, and we're unveiling that soon.
Yeah, well, I'll give a
you
sneak
got it
peek.
with
I know
you.
you may not
Look
see.
at
This is
Eric did this.
This is one of two.
Yep.
Yep, just put it right there. Yep,
Okay.
there you go.
One of two paintings he did for the Battle of Long Canes. There will be 3 markers in the town of Troy. That's our partnership with Troy. This was a grant from SC 250 with, joint as Kelly said, with McCormick. There will be 3 markers there, 3 interpretive markers. One is a map showing the battle staging area, kind of what happened, setting the stage. Wade Harrison created the map, so it's very good. And then 2 markers from paintings that Eric did, and it will tell a lot of what happened at the Battle of Long Canes on December 12th, 1780. So that anniversary is coming up. We're trying to get the markers finished and installed by them so we can unveil them December 12th of this year.
That's not
This
far.
year? No, that's not.
We've been working a year and a half. The paintings are finished. The markers have been approved by our local group. They're now in the hands of the SC250 peer review. We're waiting for those back so that we can get the marker finished to get them installed. So that's where we are. They are fabulous. It's a lot of work we've done. It's been a labor of love. It tells a great story. We had boots on the ground looking for sites that Miss Nora Davis had pointed out back in 1930, who is Stephen Davis's aunt, another historian here in Greenwood years ago. So we went back to her notes. We went back to her handwritten notes. We went back to other things. We did a lot of research on a lot of these things that we're doing. So that's another one. We talked about Whitehall. We talked about Salvador. We talked about Battle of Long Canes. So we've got those projects and those people and places we do plan to mark.
Wasn't there was another battle that Eric has done a painting for down in that area that you
was
always...
for the massacre, the Long Cane Massacre.
Okay, right.
And that the
Right.
markers here will be very similar to that marker. It'll just be 3. And they'll
Okay.
be in the Wisteria Park in the town of Troy.
Okay. All right. I was trying to think. I knew there was the massacre.
This was a really big project that, and the copy alone was mind blowing to me because there are a lot of people involved with this project and they know their stuff. I'm not that person, but they, it took a minute just to get the copy refined. Chip had to do a lot of editing.
That was my life for a couple of months.
That was his life, and it was, there's so much knowledge, and everybody wanted their piece in the copy, and it was hard
The
to.
former president of the state commission, Charles Baxley, he was the attorney in the low state. He led the commission and was very knowledgeable. He had 2 sites in Greenwood County that he pushed to get marked and finished. He had cancer. Mr. Baxley died 2 years ago, maybe.
About 2 years
He
ago.
pushed to find and to mark and to place Whitehall, Williamson's former home. We got a archaeologist to come. Archaeologists have been there 3 or 4 times before and never could find it. The archaeologist came, searched. We got 50 artifacts back. We know exactly where Whitehall was. It's on a local landowner's property. He's good with us. We're going to mark it on his property. We're going to put a marker very soon, probably next year. If we get $100,000 or more at some point in the next 5 years, we want to go back and do a true archaeological dig and find the exact spot. We have seen the well. We'd love to find where the exact home was. That's big. It had been looked for years. So finding Whitehall is big. Charles Baxley is extremely happy wherever, right now. The second spot that he really wanted was the Battle of the Long Canes. And we worked hard to find more information. It was a running battle basically from near Whitehall to about where the Long Cane Creek is near the massacre. We couldn't get the archaeologists because a lot of it is Park Service land and Forestry Service land and all of that. So we had to go ahead with the markers. But now that the bridge is closed and now that the state has agreed to come back and reopen the bridge, because of where it is, we think they have to do archaeological work there. So we're hoping we'll get back in there and be able to do what we wanted to do and get everything accomplished. So 2 of the top 8 sites that Charles Baxley wanted were in Greenwood County. So a lot of us don't know about Long Canes. A lot of us don't know about Williamson and Whitehall.
Right.
They're big in the state's eyes.
That's cool. Now, didn't they do something similar with Salvador? Haven't they been looking for exactly where he lived or something?
Well, yeah, the marker's out on 72, 221.
Right.
And we don't know why, basically because that was the 2-lane road. It went to the certain part of the state. It was on the Coronacre Creek. That's all we can think. Ed Polyakov, and I always mispronounce that, his family's from Abbeville. He's attorney in Columbia, Mullins Law Firm. He spent a lot of time, his own efforts, to pinpoint with cartographers to find basically where this was. We have pretty much decided that it's in the area of Tabernacle Cemetery, where Karen Park Jennings' house is, that area where the Coronacre Creek comes through. We're pretty sure it was that area. Salvador came here and was looking for a spot to grow indigo.
There, I knew I'd hear this conversation.
And that area there looks, I don't know if you'll ever be able to find it, but we've narrowed it down based on all of that. That's one reason we want to take the marker and move that and do the interpretive marker there. Plus, it will be in a better place for people to see it, and you can't
keep hitting it.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So Salvador is another one.
Right, okay.
The last, we've had a couple of other spots, but we're working on a spot for Captain John Montague. Montague lived...
Captain John Montague.
Who knew Montague Avenue was named after Captain John Montague? I didn't.
You knew?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not until all this.
Oh, I don't know that much about it. I mean, I just knew that Captain John, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Montague, who's a patriot ancestor of mine, that's what I spoke on today with the DAR. He, of course, grew up in Virginia, but his claim to fame was, and it's on the tombstone that was sent by the U.S. War Service, he had a saber mark on his forehead and arm in protection and taking a saber wound defending General George Washington. Yes, ma'am. So he defended General Washington in Virginia. He moved down here later in life after the war because his daughter ended up here. He moved to live here with her. He's buried on Plain Dealing off Sample Road. So we want to mark that spot, clean that spot. By the way, cleaning that spot this Saturday at 10 a.m. on Sample Road. If you have a lawnmower or a tool, come join us on Sample Road at 10 a.m. at the spot of Plain Dealing behind Legacy Chevrolet. Some of us will be there cleaning that old cemetery. But Captain Montague is tied to Carr McGee, who his brother-in-law and son, his brother and son were the first, and John McGee his wife named this Greenwood. So that's the familial connection there.
Wow. So I love old cemeteries. I mean, I just think they have so much more character than what we have today. I'm sorry, but I do think they have a lot more character.
This one's very special.
Yeah.
It really is, and I had no idea where it was.
We've worked and actually have a not 501c3, of an LLC. Kenny Poston's helped us create an LLC, and several people have agreed to join the board. It was owned by the Watson family for the last 50 years, probably. Harry Watson from the Index Journal. His family did more for history in Greenwood probably than anybody. The recording of history and the keeping of history. And they have held that property, and they're ready to give it, and we've acquired all the deeds from the family except one. We're waiting on one signature, and we will have ownership of that property.
Is that the one that the Boy Scout cleaned up? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Am I right? Yes.
And it's grown back up, so that's what we want to clean it back out and put a marker and keep it and clean it up and get it back to what it ought to be.
Yeah, I remember that story. That was a good story.
That's it.
Well, we are talking about history. Ho hum. But you know what? When you look at Greenwood, and you may say, well, they didn't really do anything. They don't have any battles. We have talked about a lot of people that were really big people, right, Chip, that had a lot of influence on what was happening in our country 250 years ago. And that's why it is important. And I truly think that taking children to, on the 15th, taking them to this would be an excellent thing.
This would.
Driving tour that y'all are working on. And really taking the time.
Yes. It's so important.
And the George Washington birthday party. next year.
Yes, we will do. We're moving forward with the second annual George
Second
Washington
annual, yeah.
birthday party.
Was at the museum last year.
February
21st, I think you said.
21st.
February 21st.
Not sure if that was his birthday.
But we'll do
yeah.
some things before that, and we've already had an exhibit in the library. I mean, there's opportunities there to learn and to see. Oh, good. Okay, yeah, February 21st, and we've got some other things going on. May 16th is the Federal Ball. June
And they're going to have an
14th.
art exhibit, you said, at
The art exhibit will be during that May time. Mm-hmm.
And what kind of an art exhibit is it?
It'll be relative to the Revolutionary War, but I don't know just yet the title or anything like that.
The art center is kind of heading the art part up, and we're going to piggyback with that to do the Federal Ball at the same time with an opening. And,
right.
Yeah, so it's going to be a partnership with that.
That'll be very cool. You know, I would wonder, does the 250 exhibit, do they have any traveling exhibits? Have they developed any
I think
of that?
that's what they're going to get. I think that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, and there was an exhibit 2 years ago at the museum that the state had. I think it was the first city was in Greenwood at the museum, and one of the DAR chapters, I think Issaquena, added to it, and they had an opening as well. So the museum had an opening for an art exhibit.
But was that on slavery or?
That was a component.
Okay, because I remember what the museum added was they added all these unknown black slaves who helped in South Carolina. It was fascinating exhibit.
And you know, one of our challenges was, we know stories. Are there unknown stories?
Of course.
We've looked for those unknown stories. If others know stories that we can search more and document, we would love to have those stories. We've not found them within our group, but we would, if you have them, we would love to know about them as a coalition so that we can share them with other people. One of the big groups in our area obviously is the Cherokee, because the Cherokee were big at 96. It was going on here. You had the Cherokee Massacre right before the Revolution. You had the Cherokee War. So they
also had a movement. They came through this area because
right.
Karen has done down there at the museum has done a lot with that. Yeah.
Right. So we had hoped to find those stories as well. You know, local stories, local people. We have not had those.
Maybe we need to advertise that on the radio.
Maybe.
You know, as something to, because if people don't really know about it, it's hard to get that out there.
And you have to be very, very tactful how you do it from our perspective. You know, we had Josh Manley on our group for the first 2 years. Mm-hmm. Josh was the superintendent, 96. Josh was go-getter, strong.
Oh, God, he was great.
Very good. He had ties to the Cherokee Nation in North Carolina, but also to the Cherokee in Oklahoma. And he was working very strategically, methodically, to build relationships so that we could do it here at 96 and within our group. And when he moved, we lost a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And
Josh that was at 96.
Right,
yes.
And we've been very, I don't want to use the word apprehensive, but Josh said, get them to tell their story. You don't tell their story unless you have the documentation. So we've been very waiting, so to speak, and we would love, if people have their stories or know their stories, we would love to have that.
So the family history really is what we're talking about.
Right.
A family history.
Right.
Yes.
And
for sure.
That would be a very cool. I think that, Kelly, could be something to promote so that people will dig out their stories, or, well, I remember great grandma telling this story, this type of thing.
And it kind of, one thing we know in Greenwood County, as far as Revolutionary War soldiers, that there are, and I don't know the exact number. I think I've got a list here somewhere. There are about 50 Revolutionary War soldiers that are buried in Greenwood County, and we can share that list and show you exactly where they are. We know who they are. We know where they are. Of course, 35 are buried at Greenville Presbyterian Church right on the line. The others are buried in different places. But there's also a list that Loy helped me start, and I've compiled, of probably 40-something other soldiers that are most probably buried in Greenwood County, but we're not sure and we don't know where they're buried. And I share this, that if we get through this process, and I shared it in 2 other groups, I think that our group and the DARs and the SARs and all the groups that are promoting Rev War, it'd be a travesty to get through that if we don't recognize this group somehow, some way, somewhere. And I think we need to have a marker somewhere in Greenwood County for those that are buried here. We don't know where. Mm-hmm. So we need to do something. So that's something else. So we want to figure out how and where to do to honor those.
Absolutely.
They don't have a marker. We need to mark them somehow.
Sure. And what's the there is a church in Hodges that has has some revolutionary.
It's almost Donald's, between
right.
Hodges
Yes,
and Donald's.
Yes.
Greenville Presbyterian.
Yes.
About 35.
That's huge. That is huge.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
It's big. You don't find that and that is a beautiful place, a beautiful cemetery. I know that people say beautiful cemetery, but it is. Beautiful church, beautiful cemetery, and it will be on our gateway map that will show all the sites of Greenwood County, where they are, how they connect to Lawrence, how they connect to Abbeville, how they connect to McCormick, and how you can get there and travel as well, and a little something about it, and hopefully a QR code where you can visit or find out more about it.
Well, we're almost out of time, but what can people do to get involved in this?
Well, first of all, they can contact Chip and I so we can kind of tell them the direction that we're going. And if, we always say we like to give them all the options and how they can help and be involved with those options. If the Spirit moves them to financially support us, again, they can contact myself or Chip. A good start for them is to go to our website, which is gc250.org, or follow us on Facebook, which is Greenwood County Coalition 250, I think is the name of the Facebook page. But they can reach Chip via email, ctinsley63@yahoo.com, myself, kelly.mcwhorter@gwdcity.com. And we're happy to meet with anybody for any reason. If they've got a story, if they've got some interest in serving on one of our sub teams or whatever, we're not near through, and we still need a lot more involvement and support.
I don't know if this will show.
It might.
You think that will show?
Yeah, I think you can see it. Yeah. Kelly, you could take it over maybe a little bit closer to the camera there if you want to just... There you go. There. That's perfect. That's perfect. Now you can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. That's great.
So
Great.
we have all of our information. You're welcome to call, email, website, Facebook. We have a presence. Come to the meeting.
When's
Come
your
to
next
the meeting.
Is
Come to
that
the meeting.
We will meet first of the year. We met as a coalition. No, are we going to meet in December?
We will meet in December, but we will be meeting at In on the Square in November. So
in
you
November,
can come
the
there.
14th. The 14th
Right.
will be a... Okay, and that would be a great event, which is what we were here to talk about. We have talked about a lot of different aspects of this, which I think should give people an overview of some of the things, and maybe start thinking about some of those stories that you heard, or maybe there's something written down that's in the Bible, right?
That's right.
You never know where you're going to find this information. We did have a comment come in here, Chip. It says, thank you, Chip Tinsley, for all that you do. A lot of info, and that's from Ann Roberts.
Tell her thank you very much, Ann.
That's
Thank
right.
Aw.
That's right. So if you are interested in getting involved, please reach out to them. If you'd like to come to the meeting, I hate to say it, but it's not very far away, Kelly.
It's not very far away.
That's right.
2 weeks.
November 14th will be, what time does it start?
10.
10 o'clock?
9 o'clock is coffee, or 9:30 is coffee, and then the
Come
meeting
get
starts
coffee.
at 10.
Come have coffee.
Come have coffee.
Being on
Sit
the
for the
square.
first part of the meeting, and
Come
if you
back
need
for the
to,
reception.
if you need to run out, come back.
Come back, and then on the 15th they are going to be having, hopefully we'll have a big do, hopefully everything will be back open, but if not, they're still going to have an event going on out there at the 96 historic site. Well, this has been fascinating. I think it's opened my eyes to a lot of the things that are going on and that are doing. I really appreciate y'all coming out
Thank you
today.
for having us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
So this will be posted on Facebook, and if you like and share it, put it on your site, whatever.
Yes,
It'll
ma'am.
also end up on our website at WCRS1450am.net. Anything else y'all would like to say before I free
No,
you from this?
And we didn't even get to Gervais, John-Louis Gervais at Herrenhausen, or to Swansea's Ferry. So we had more, so there's more to come, we hope.
Well, we could come back and do some more talking about
Yeah.
the history.
We've
did,
got stuff we want to do.
We did maybe have a possibility of having someone from the state join
Right.
you. And so we'll work on that during the time that they're here. Maybe Mr. Bill. He would love to be. He would love to be on here. So
Well, great. If
Okay,
he could come
well-
on, maybe we could do it even that morning.
Like a
on the
call
morning show.
in?
Or if he's here, is he going to be coming in town? I don't know. Is
Okay.
he coming?
okay,
He has the following.
He has a following,
He
yeah.
has a following.
definitely.
Yeah.
He does have a
He
following.
asked me today. He has a following.
Okay, they asked you today. Okay. Well, we could either do a call. We could do a call in, but if he's coming for the meeting,
He'll be here.
maybe he could come because we do my show like 9:15 to 10:15. I mean,
Okay.
we could let him go before then if he needed to. But
Okay.
we could do something like that too.
All right.
Any of a number
I think
of
he would
things.
love that.
I like doing in person. I can do Zoom
Yeah.
calls and everything, but it's always better if you can sit down and chat. So
Okay.
we'll talk more about
Okay.
that. There is
Thank
more
you.
to come right here. Kelly, Chip, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Let's see. We're going to put the curtain down. Curtain down. We're going to turn off the mics. 1, 2, 3.